All right, so I'm out in my garage, and you may be asking, why is this jackass out here with his server in his garage? Well, I have an air compressor out here, and this is all tidied up, finally finished, and I needed to blow the dust out of it. So I've spent the past few weeks battling hard drive issues. Kind of self-inflicted, kind of not. Windows hit it with a unexpected reboot while the RAID level migration was happening. That crunked out a drive. It was giving me predictive fails, but I've actually lived with those on another server for a long time. But the drive was only writing at 17 megabytes a second, which was making it take a horrendous amount of time. Got that fixed. Found out that the 27 terabyte 4 drives that I had formatted previously was on an 8K allocation block size. Couldn't find a good software way around that, and ended up having to wipe the entire drive, all my stuff off of it, and put everything back on via my backup server. So finally got that all figured out this past weekend, got it formatted, got it everything set up. I've got almost 54, almost 55 terabytes worth of usable space. Pardon the dust flying through the air. It's dusty out here now. But I wanted to show a couple things. This has been performing very admirably. The drives have been running. You know, the highest ambient temp I saw was 80 degrees on a little hot snap. A couple weeks ago, we had the windows open. It was warm in the house. The hottest hard drive was 35 Celsius. With it right now, we're down in the 40s and stuff. The house inside is right around 70 to 72. They're all happily running anywhere from 29 to 31, maybe hitting 32 every once in a while. But what I wanted to show before I go about putting this down in my basement, so here is the power supply mounted in the front of the case. You can see that I cut the holes, used a little bit of car tubing to insulate right here, and actually it opened up the inside of the case a ton. I'm really happy with this decision I made to try that out. The interesting thing is, if you're thinking about doing this, there's two 92 millimeter fans here. If you find heat to become an issue, there is room with modifications to the fan and to the front of the case itself. A little bit of work, you can actually fit 220 millimeter fans in. They're going to be touching side by side. You're going to have to take the top ear off to clear the frame of the chassis itself, but you can make 220 millimeter fans fit there above the SFX power supply. Everything else has been real good with it. It runs cool. It's fairly quiet. I have the fan curve using fan control set pretty aggressively to the SSD, which is buried down under here. Future plans are going to be to look at the possibility of getting an M.2 to 10 gig RJ45 adapter. There's one out there that supposedly works pretty well. The second M.2 slot is right under the top of this. Unfortunately, I don't remember if the head for the slot is here or up front, but the tower cooler may be an issue with it. I need to do some more research on it, but after transferring 15 terabytes of data over gig Ethernet at 113 megabytes a second, it was rock solid, but it was also painfully slow. So I've decided I need a 10 gig upgrade at home, and I'm not quite ready to bite off on doing fiber yet. I just don't want to invest that cost or anything when I can do it with copper. Looking at microtik components mainly. But yeah, that's it. All my data is backed up. Funny story, while I was transferring data from my old server, which has been running, it ran for about 6 years non-stop. One of the drives died while I was transferring out. I had it split up in two 4-disk RAID 5 arrays. One of the drives died, it went degraded, but I was able to get the rest of the data off of it. It was just TV shows, and I could replace those if necessary. But here we are, it's done, it's going into the rack in the basement, and that should be it for a while. I'll be managing it over Chrome Remote Desktop. I thought about doing a Ethernet over HDMI. Really didn't want to spend a couple $100 on one that'll give me the resolution on my monitor, I don't need full ultra wide 1440 resolution on it either. Chrome Remote Desktop doesn't log me out, works great, makes it very manageable. I've been pretty happy with how it's resulting so far, so that's where it's at. Really the main point of this video was just to talk about the finished product and the SFX power supply mounting, because I wasn't able to show it before, but that's it. If you were wondering how I had it set up, so it points straight back. And you can see everything. I can't get the camera to focus, but you can see it points straight back. I've got the SAS cables kind of wrapped around, but all the custom cables that I made coming off of it are all pointing straight back, so they're short as they need to be to make everything work efficiently. Any questions, just put a comment down there and I'll answer them.